HighBridge, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Neuroscience of Memory, 7 skills to optimize your brain power, improve memory, and stay sharp at any age. By me, Sherrie D, Ph.D. Read by Sherrie D, Ph.D. Publisher's note. This audiobook has bonus material. Please contact whomever you purchased this audiobook from to request the material. This publication is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regard to the subject matter covered. It is sold with the understanding that the publisher is not engaged in rendering psychological, financial, legal, or other professional services. If expert assistance or counseling is needed, the services of a competent professional should be sought. In consideration of evolving American English usage standards and reflecting a commitment to equity for all genders, they/them is used in this book to denote singular persons. Alzheimer's Association Know the 10 Signs checklist, courtesy of the Alzheimer's Association. WOPR, or WOPR, concept and terminology, courtesy of Anthony Stringer, Ph.D., and Western Psychological Services, WPS. Selected materials from the Eon Mem, copyright 2007, by Western Psychological Services. Reprinted by New Harbinger Publications by permission of WPS. Not to be reprinted in whole or in part for any additional purpose without the express written permission of the publisher. Rights at wpspublish.com. All rights reserved. Catherine Pittman's Worry Plan, courtesy of Catherine Pittman. Elizabeth Twomley et al.'s Compensatory Cognitive Training for Traumatic Brain Injury Facilitator's Guide, excerpted by permission of the authors. To Ella, Lily, Charlie, and Alex, may you never be afraid to be badass women scientists, or whatever you want to be. Forward by Paul Bendheim, M.D. Read by Dr. Sherrie All. Of all the things I've lost, I missed my mind the most. Mark Twain. You will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. Dr. Seuss. We have just reached a unique juncture in the U.S., where for the first time the number of people over the age of 65 has surpassed the number under the age of 5. As our population ages, the fear of losing one's mind, losing one's memory, has become a leading health concern. Survey after survey documents this concern, and it is valid. We are currently in the initial phase of an epidemic of Alzheimer's disease, the leading cause of progressive dementia. Every day, 10,000 baby boomers turn 65 years old. Advancing age and unhealthy lifestyle practices are the 2 major risk factors for Alzheimer's disease. There were about 6 million people living with Alzheimer's disease in 2021, which will increase to 15 million in the next 30 years, if we don't implement strategies to change this trajectory. The statistics sound grim, and until relatively recently, a grim prognosis was thought to be unavoidable. When I was a medical student and subsequently a neurology resident, the central dogma of the aging brain was that it was hardwired. When you reached the age of 40, this marvelous, hardwired, computational organ, the seat of all distinguishing and unique human behavioral, emotional, thinking, learning, and creative functions, began to unravel. If you were fortunate, it unwound slowly. If you were unlucky, your brain unwound more rapidly, and you became demented. Previously, the term was senile. The good and encouraging news is that we have the ability to change this trajectory. As Dr. Sherrie All explains in the book you're listening to, The Neuroscience of the Aging Brain, what I, Dr. Bendheim, have labeled the new science of the aging brain, has at its core two principles: neuroplasticity and cognitive reserve. Neuroplasticity is the ability of your brain to change its anatomy, to create new brain cells, and to connect them to other neurons. Cognitive, or brain reserve, is the ability to build an insurance policy, a wall, if you wish, against memory loss and the loss of other cognitive functions. Cognitive reserve diminishes the brain's wear and tear associated with normal aging, fewer memory misfires, and senior moments. But most importantly, it reduces your risk of progressive cognitive decline resulting in Alzheimer's disease or vascular dementia. Dr. All is a recognized neuropsychologist. She developed the Chicago Center for Cognitive Wellness and has helped countless patients dealing with the fear and the reality of memory loss. Her counseling and programs enrich lives while empowering individuals with the tools to improve memory formation, memory permanence, and memory recall. In this book, she not only explains the science behind the methodology for cognitive improvement and long-lasting brain health, but also asks hard questions of the reader to promote thinking and action about personal cognitive and memory issues. She then provides exercises and guidance, enabling the reader to better the brain both over the short term, through working memory, and over the lifespan, through long-term, episodic, and semantic memories. To my personal satisfaction as a fervent advocate for a healthy brain lifestyle, Dr. All devotes separate chapters to the critically important components of lifestyle for aging individuals who want to enrich their lives while strengthening mind and body. As is true with most endeavors in life, benefits come to those who work at it. Each of us has to be our own healthy brain quarterback. Fortunately, Dr. All's program, as elucidated in this volume, if initiated and committed to, will lead to real progress as you march up the field. As you experience the benefits while enjoying a richer, less stressful life, you will thank Dr. All for her leadership and easy-to-follow, evidence-based guidance. Paul E. Bendheim, M.D., Clinical Professor of Neurology, University of Arizona College of Medicine, Phoenix, author of The Brain Training Revolution, a proven workout for healthy brain aging. Part 1. Building Blocks. Introduction. Do you have a terrible memory? Would others agree? Or do they say it's all in your head? Pun intended. Whether you legitimately have a terrible memory or not, I'm guessing by the fact that you have this book, you are concerned about your memory in some way. I imagine at the very least you're curious, in search for answers, perhaps even frustrated. Maybe things are not what they used to be, or new challenges are arising. It's normal to be scared. Whether you've always had a terrible memory or you're finding yourself slipping, you are not alone in your fear. According to Kelly, Yulin, and McGuire from 2018, memory loss is a top fear, and for good reason. Your fears are not frivolous. We rely heavily on our brains and our intelligence-based culture and economy. A sharp memory is a valuable resource. For many of us, it's the basis of our livelihoods, not to mention a source of pride and status. Take a moment to think about how much money it would cost you in lost income, health care, and personal care expenses if you had to stop working today, or if people had to keep an eye on you because you kept leaving the stove on. Those numbers can quickly spiral up into the hundreds of thousands and often millions of dollars. You may have already experienced some of these losses. If so, then you know all too well the impact that memory loss has on your bank account, not to mention your pride and your self-esteem. These changes can be devastating. Depression and anxiety are common and understandable reactions. Worse than a loss of money, most people fear a loss of independence. What if you couldn't drive yourself places or set your own appointments? What if someone had to put their life on hold to care for you? These scenarios aren't necessarily the end of the world. Increasingly, this is becoming a reality for many as they care for aging parents. I mention it, though, to acknowledge the fear that most people hold regarding what it would mean to lose memory skills. I'm also guessing that these are some of the deep, perhaps unnamed fears that drove you to this book. No matter your circumstance, there is a lot you can do, so I'm glad you came here for some help. How to use this audiobook workbook. This was originally a workbook, so I've filled it with lots of exercises and places for you to write your thoughts, goals, and plans. My intention is for you to use these activities to build a better memory. Some of these worksheets you might wish to print out to use again and again. Therefore, you can download all of these worksheets where you purchased your audiobook. The surveys are not diagnostic. They're there to help you better understand your individual brain and memory and to help you identify your strengths, which you will use to help support, bolster, and supplement your weaker areas. While I don't anticipate this being the case for everyone, some surveys may lead you to feel anxiety or to raise your awareness of your memory to a point where you need to seek some professional support. In such cases, please seek that support, and I encourage you to not shy away from the activities out of fear. Feeling fear is important. It can lead you to action. Plus, information is power, and help is available and transformative. The exercises are designed for you to practice the skills that I'm teaching you. In each chapter, you will learn about a principle of neuroscience or a proven strategy for improved memory. You will then support your understanding and adoption of these principles and skills for lasting change through the exercises. You get out of them what you put into them. The long game and the need for practice. Our journey together will likely take time, weeks, months, maybe even years, and that's okay. Turtle speed really is the rate of lasting change, whether we want to admit it or not. To really get the most out of this book, you should commit to a pattern of daily attention. Schedule in your calendar daily or weekly sessions with your book. You will be setting goals for yourself to practice the strategies I will teach you, often practicing each technique for a week at a time. I'm not just making up this need for practice. What Neuroscience of Memory book would be complete without looking at what neuroscience has to say on the topic? Neuroscience tells us repetition matters. Do the exercises. Practice your new skills. This is because you are working to rewire your brain for a better memory. Rewiring doesn't happen in a flash. To develop better memory skills, you must practice them, repeat them, overlearn them, and maintain them, which means repeat them. To this end, I have structured many of the memory exercises in a way that will give you opportunities to practice them as you learn the neuroscience behind it all. This book is different from your standard memory trick book. You may find that many of the exercises seem to be more about neuroscience than memory. We're using neuroscience to help you improve your learning and memory. Building a better memory is all about learning better. And what better opportunity to practice learning than by learning? Many of the exercises are there to help you learn about neuroscience. And by using the strategies to learn and remember a new topic, you get to practice them in preparation to learn other topics. As you learn more about brain plasticity, this is the way the adult brain changes and remolds itself. the need for practice will become even clearer. Understanding neuroscience may not make you want to do the exercises any more than you do right now, but you will understand the neural basis of why practicing is so important. Meet Cindy, your companion on this journey. Cindy Williams is 47 years old. She has 3 kids, ages 10, 13, and 17. She works full-time and shares custody with her ex-husband. Cindy enjoys her job, but is often overwhelmed by office politics. About 5 years ago, Cindy sustained a concussion when someone at work opened the door to the break room too quickly, and the door smacked her in the head. She didn't lose consciousness, but she woke up the next day with a terrible headache and felt like garbage. This happened in the heat of her divorce, and she tried not to take time off work at first, but after weeks of headaches, dizziness, brain fog, and tiredness, she finally met with HR and started a workers' compensation claim, which did allow her to take some time off. At first, her doctors seemed to dismiss her fears and concerns, trying to be upbeat about her prognosis, but she felt invalidated. She thought people thought she was making it all up and that she was lazy. She finally found a really good therapist, one she liked, and a good rehab and pain doctor, but she felt as if the workers' compensation company was judging her and pushing her to go back to work before she was ready. Ever since all of this happened, she consistently worries about her memory. She wonders, will I get Alzheimer's like my grandma? Every time Cindy forgets an appointment, which happens about every month or so, she beats herself up, feeling fearful and ashamed. Cindy hasn't been sleeping well since the accident and the divorce either. Besides, who sleeps well with teenagers anyway, right? She takes Tylenol PM every night to help with this. She and the kids live on a steady diet of takeout because who has time to cook, let alone get to the gym? After getting home and organizing the kids and filling everyone's bellies, the best she can do is plop on the couch for some Grey's Anatomy and Candy Crush, with a glass of Chardonnay and the corked bottle nearby. She tells herself, I'm only going to have 1 glass, though that rarely works out. She wonders, is this all there is? Am I doomed to a life in the nursing home? Can't I do something to improve my memory? Her fingers wander away from Candy Crush and over to the Amazon app on her phone, the lifeblood of any mom these days. She finds this Neuroscience of Memory workbook and orders it. And like you, she starts working through the exercises, changing her life, changing her memory, and changing her brain. It's my pleasure to be your guide. Throughout our journey together, I will be guiding you and Cindy through a deeper understanding of your brain, focusing on how it supports your memory. I will guide you through how it works and how it fails you. By developing a deeper understanding of how your brain works, you will be equipped with more tools to operate it better. I've been helping people improve their thinking for nearly 2 decades, and I'm excited and honored to have the opportunity to support you on your journey of memory improvement. And I'm grateful that you have invited me to accompany you along this journey. Why neuroscience? Not just another memory book. Over the last 2 decades, the field of neuroscience has been turned upside down by new research showing that the adult brain can and does change in positive ways throughout the entire lifespan, molding itself based on how we use it. This new science has, in turn, dramatically changed the way we understand memory and thereby the approaches needed to maximize its function. Drawing on the latest neuroscience to help you avoid futility in your memory enhancement efforts, I will guide you in understanding the latest evidence about how your brain works, which will help you effectively guide your efforts towards your personal memory goals. You will learn how your physical states can enhance or impair your memory, providing you the motivation you need to actually eat your vegetables and get plenty of sleep and move your body, like the experts have been telling us to do all along. You'll learn the biology behind why moments of intense emotion can either highlight or hijack your memories. This knowledge gives you control. You'll also learn and practice tried and true memory techniques, all while learning how to best operate the organ running the show. Metacognition. The neuro, or brain, plus the science elements of this book are useful because when you know how your memory actually works inside your brain, you're better equipped to use it. Research in the field of cognitive rehabilitation, this is a set of evidence-based interventions to improve memory and other cognitive skills like attention in people who've had a decline due to injury or disease, has shown that when people understand how their brain works, they are better able to control and improve its function. This metacognitive approach, which literally means thinking about thinking, results in the best outcomes for patients when these rehabilitation interventions are put to the test. Interventions that do not include this type of neuroscience-informed education result in weaker outcomes. Take charge of your memory. Enhancing your memory with neuroscience puts you in the driver's seat to change and grow your brain and memory. So let's get started. Chapter 1. The Gifts of Neuroscience. Maybe you've always had a terrible memory. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you recently sustained a concussion or just went through chemo. There's no faster way to become incredibly aware of memory glitches than to experience a period when your brain just does not work the way it used to. Pregnancy brain and sleepless nights with a newborn, anyone? Maybe you've been diagnosed with MS or Parkinson's disease, or you got bit by that ill-fated tick and contracted Lyme disease. Now you're left wondering, what's in store for me if I lose my memory skills? Maybe you're feeling your old bones and noticing the changes that come naturally with age. But understandably, this has you worried. Like many of the people who visit my office, you likely feel scared. At the very least, I'm sure it's safe to say that you are not satisfied with your memory and you are looking for solutions. Why do you want to improve your memory? I'd like you to take a moment to journal about why you selected this audiobook. This is going to help you acknowledge some of your fears and set the stage for addressing them as we work together. So whip out a sheet of paper and just jot down reasons why you want to improve your memory. What'd you put down? Do you want a better memory to show off or compete in memory competitions? I'm guessing probably not. I'll bet you listed reasons related to wanting to be better at your job, or a more attentive parent, grandparent, partner, or friend. You might also be fearing the dark cloud of dementia looming over the horizon and want to remain as independent and productive as long as possible. I'm betting that you want evidence-based strategies that will keep your brain strong and vibrant, not really like parlor tricks, right? So that's what I want for you too. And using a neuroscience approach is the best way to get you there. Advances in neuroscience over the last 20 years have revealed many surprises, leading us to completely reprioritize what we recommend for memory enhancement strategies. This new science will help you focus your efforts in a way that will be most effective in helping you meet the why and intentions that you listed. Many adult brains are getting bigger throughout the lifespan. Did you know that? However, many are getting smaller. So which group will you be in? Is it all in my head? Since I'm not your doctor, I have no way of knowing if your memory concerns are clinical concerns or not. It could very well be the case that something is wrong with your memory and your underlying brain. On the other hand, your brain may be just fine. Or you may not be worried at all, and you picked up this book just to give yourself an edge. All great starting points. If you are worried about your brain, the only real way to know if your struggles are normal or not is to get your brain checked out by a doctor. I'm a big advocate of getting all that checked out, which typically involves consulting with a couple of different doctors. You'll need your medical doctor to order blood tests and a brain scan. Some primary care physicians do this, but many will refer you to a neurologist. A neurologist can quickly screen for memory changes and will know whether your memory is okay or not, but in many cases, the neurologist's tests are not sensitive enough. The gold standard for dementia diagnosis is a formal neuropsychological testing by a clinical neuropsychologist, with insurance covering this service for most cases. Neuropsychological testing is sort of like IQ testing, but broader, testing all your brain skills, including memory. You sit down with a trained professional for about 3 to 6 hours and work through a variety of tasks. Most are interactive or paper and pencil based. Some of the tests are on a computer, but be wary of offers to do the entire assessment on a computer, as there can be some serious validity issues with these types of tests. I'm passionate about neuropsychological assessment, and it's not just because it's my professional background and a foundational offering of my clinic. In almost every case, objective testing of your memory is the only way to really know if something is wrong or if you're worried about it for no reason. It is a really good idea to have a professional weigh in on which cognitive skills you may be losing, how much your skills are or are not slipping, and what they think the cause is. Because guess what? You can do something about it. Maybe you already knew this or were hopeful. Otherwise, why would you be listening to this book, right? My point is that a lot of people avoid testing out of the fear that it will provide useless knowledge. Why bother knowing if I have a memory problem if I can't do anything about it, right? Well, you can do something about it, and a formal assessment will give you an idea of what to do, both in terms of how concerned you need to be or not, and where to focus your efforts. Collect your thoughts. Whip out your piece of paper again and jot down some of your thoughts at this moment. We've covered a lot of ground already. List some of your fears. Do you want to see a doctor? What would you ask? The delicate and resilient human brain. It is awe-inspiring that our brains work as well as they do, given the number of things that can go wrong. Have you ever had that feeling of awe when you consider, how does this all come together and actually work? Merriam-Webster defines awe as an emotion variously combining dread, veneration, and wonder that is inspired by authority or by the sacred or the sublime. You may have felt this when you held a newborn baby or visited a national park. That's how I feel about the brain. The very fact that this organ comes together in the first 28 days after conception, has more cells at birth than it will ever have again, is almost fully formed by age 25, and in most cases does this flawlessly, is simply amazing and awe-inspiring. A big reason why the brain is so awesome is because it is equally powerful and delicate, just like life itself. In light of the number of things that can go wrong with your brain, it is amazing how this 3-pound mass of goo, so fragile it has to sit deep inside a dense skull, suspended in liquid so it doesn't bruise itself, more often than not develops itself into a complicated, self-correcting supercomputer, more powerful than any computer ever built or even imagined. Your brain, made up of billions of cells and trillions of connections, is more sophisticated than an iPhone. And I know, that thing is amazing, right? These days, I'm I'm convinced my phone knows more about me than I do. But guess what? Your brain is smarter than that phone. Smartphones are sophisticated because of all of the different networks they synthesize. Your brain synthesizes.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?